Hey y'all, welcome to Spiritually Inclined. I just woke up not too long ago, so excuse me. I feel like the message is more important than how I'm looking right now. But so I was sitting here thinking about quantum physics and how we can manipulate energy with our thoughts and perceptions or whatever. So energy, consciousness is energy. This is the download I got. Consciousness is energy. Energy manipulates other energy. But here's the thing, if it's strong enough. So once you manipulate the energy around you, you materialize whatever it is you were emitting in your consciousness that was strong enough to materialize that thing. This goes for situations, random things that happen throughout the day. It's basically manifestation, but it's entanglement. I'm gonna say quantum entanglement. That's like the everyday things that we manifest into existence or occurrence just off of whatever's going on in our mind the strongest, and in our subconscious mind, meaning like you may not even be thinking this right then and there, but it's strongly embedded within your other mind, your deeper mind, your subconscious mind. That's where all the deep embedded beliefs and perceptions and views and opinions are stored. The ones that affect us without us knowing on a surface level. Like, you know how sometimes you be like, dang, I didn't know that bothered me that much. Some stuff is so deep-seated within us that we are not even aware that we're manifesting from it. But that's where we manifest from. It's not our conscious, everyday thoughts. Now, if you combining those thoughts with something subconscious that you are, deeply scared of, and right there is where I want to veer off and talk about this situation. So this had to be a girl who, just like I just mentioned, where her surface level mind was co-creating with the subconscious, which, like I said, the subconscious is already strong within itself because it's deeper than our everyday thoughts. But when your everyday thoughts come into alignment with the subconscious mind, I feel like that's when materialization happens. Materialization of, events, anything that can happen around you or happen to you, you can manifest that with your current thoughts and your subconscious together. So when I say that, I was watching a story about this girl that got kidnapped. I can't go into the name or anything so that you guys can go look at that video. I'm gonna try to leave that down leave the link to that in the description below after I finish recording this video. But it was a girl And she ended up getting kidnapped by this guy. He kept her for a few days, and of course he was assaulting her in every way during that time. And she ended up, being found and saved and everything. So the story had a good ending. But what I paid attention to was the moments leading up to what happened to her. So she was just getting off from work one night, and she was getting, off the bus, and she had to walk, the rest of the way home. And so as she was walking, there was a man behind her that was walking in the distance, but he was just walking. And the guy, she sent basically, and I'm gonna, speak quantum entanglement into this. This is just an explanation of what actually happens when we end up in certain situations that seem random, but it's not. And this is proof that nothing is random. Everything comes from what we are emitting through our consciousness. This is why consciousness, there's a war on consciousness in this world. But y'all know I always get deep. That's another video. But so whatever you're emitting from your consciousness makes up your energy. And when it's your consciousness is composed of your subconscious, your everyday mind, and your ego. Your ego is what really masterminds the surface level mind. But then you have the subconscious, of course, is being programmed by those, those beliefs that you believe in the most. Those assumptions that you make and you believe wholeheartedly behind those assumptions. That's what makes it deep-seated, and it embeds within your subconsciousness, which is where we all manifest from. Like, you have to program the subconscious in order to manifest what you desire. But until then, you're manifesting through your current thoughts, your current perceptions, your current beliefs, your current assumptions, all of that. And whatever you believe within that the most is what's programming your subconscious, and it creates the life that you live currently. So with that being said, back to the story with the girl. So as she was walking and the guy was walking in the distance behind her, he felt that, she was scared because she kept looking back. She kept, checking and looking back at him. So he said he decided to, cross the street, just to let her know, I ain't on that type of time. I'm over here now. So the girl, now they got the guy that crossed the street. They got the girl, she talking, and they all talking about the situation as it was playing out, because this guy witnessed her being kidnapped. But so after the guy crossed the street, just to let her know, okay, I ain't on that type of time, she comes, she's walking, and this guy is just sitting there. He's, standing outside his car, and he asked her something. I'm gonna see if I can remember what he asked her. I think he asked her for directions or what time it was. It was something he asked her that actually made her stop. And she wasn't scared of him, I guess, because he spoke to her or whatever. But he was the one that snatched her up in the car. And as you know, they were struggling, she ended up kicking the window out. And the guy drove off with her. And the guy that had crossed the street to avoid her and let her know, you know, I ain't on that type of time, he watched the whole thing happen. He saw, you know, what happened, whatever. So he called and he reported it. But they didn't find her for a few days after that. And like I said, they had her on this talking about it. She was telling her story of what happened all while she was with the man. And ultimately, she was able to get the man to trust her, and she made her, or did she? Y'all, I don't want to mess up the story. I'm going to put the link to that story down. I got to find it first, so bear with me. But that's how, and I'm going to just explain what I felt happened. And I got this download when I watched the video, but I was sitting here putting, you know, that together. I got that download today, and then it's making me go back and, you know, put this together. But the thing is that she got off the bus. She was terrified. For one, it's night, it's dark, you know, you scared. That made her emit out a frequency so strong that it materialized and played out exactly the way she was scared. Now, this is what I want to say about that, is that's why it's important to know that you are safe. You have to assume it, even if you don't think so. I don't care how many movies or news situations they show, which they show those on purpose so that you will gain a view of life in this world in the picture that it paints. And that's consciousness programming. That's what I mean when I say consciousness programming. That's going on here, is that they show the news because they know people will gain an opinion about the world that will then, you know, cause limitation in their thoughts of everything and their perceptions, so that they'll continue to create a firmament over their life. That's another video I gotta do, because the firmament, in my opinion, is nothing physical that's over this earth. The thing that they're trying to say is the firmament, for me, is like energetic boundaries, because earth is at a frequency different from other realms, and you just can't go outside the realm of earth, because we're all energetic matches to earth, not other realms outside. Until you know, vibrate at a higher level, you can't go outside this realm. And that is the firmament that they're talking about. But they keep our consciousness material based, so we don't think no further than the material, and that's what keeps us stuck here in this realm. We are actually able to go outside this realm while we're here on earth. We don't have to wait until we die to go out of earth. We're not bound to these bodies because we're multi-dimensional people. We are meant to go into other realms and go wherever we want. We're free beings, literally. But they keep us, you know, consciously programmed at a level that keeps us bound to the material world. And that, my friends, is the firmament that they're really talking about. They're not going to tell you this because they don't really want you to know, but they have to include the truth in everything in order to even make what they do. They do it in such a way where it stays inside the laws of the universe, because once they go outside the laws of the universe, then that's when it goes to a whole different level. But that's when it starts to, like, it's gonna backfire. It's backfiring now, where they're losing power because we are being awakened right now. But once they have something going to where we can they do it in a way where we making a choice to, they play off our ignorance, and we ultimately choose to, believe this way, believe in what they show us, and we don't think outside the box. But that's not our fault. This is why God does not judge us on, our ignorance. It's not meant for us to know. When we enter into this realm, we completely forget because of the consciousness, programming here on earth. But it's a part of our growth to be able to fight through that and transmute that into light by remembering and reconnecting with who we are. So I brought up the video about the girl and, the story and the situation with how she manipulated the energy around her with her consciousness. Consciousness ultimately controls everything that's happening around you. And if it's strong enough, you can manipulate the energy. Like I said, our surface level thoughts and our ego can create in our subconsciousness if we allow it to. That means ruminating on it, constantly thinking about something, worrying about things, because when you worry, you constantly thinking about it, and then you manifest it into your reality. This goes for our thoughts and beliefs on money. That's why they constantly put these commercials and things on the television to tell you a vision that everything is in lag and we don't have enough of this and enough of that, and that creates within your mind and your ego, and then your mind and your ego creates within your subconscious, from which you manifest. So the best thing we can do is let go of what's being, advertised. Start seeing past the bullshit, and you can't do that until you start being authentic within yourself, remembering who you are. But back to the story and the girl, she created that because she believed that she was in danger, and she probably was playing out scenarios with the guy that was walking behind her who wasn't trying to be on that type of time. You know what I'm saying? She created that, and it was strong enough, it sent out a strong enough signal to materialize it, and it happened. And again, when we out here, we gotta know, I feel like letting you guys know that you are always creating your own reality. Anything that you want to change about your reality, just simply change your consciousness around it. Change your thoughts, change your perceptions, change your assumptions, and stop worrying about everything. Everything is God. You are God. Everything around you was created by God. All of this is God experience in itself. And when we don't remember who we are the lower consciousness levels of God if God were to operate in lower consciousness. God is always at the highest frequency, so therefore anything that is outside of that frequency, which is your normal frequency, because you are God as well, you're just here in the physical. But the main source that we all broke apart from and became our individual selves is God's consciousness. When we align back with that and as God, we come here to forget and then we remember, oh yeah, I'm God. Then you align back with the source that you broke off from. And now you're able to operate in the physical and experience your full self and create your desired realities. This is what I'm being shown by God when I connect to my source, the source of who I am. As above, so below. God is outside of us. God is inside of us. God is omnipresent. God is everything and everyone. Even down to the objects and the buildings and everything that God is creating through us. God created this world as it is through us, through lower conscious levels of itself. So when you merge back with that above source energy from the lower conscious realms of existence, then you get to bring your higher self down into this spiritual realm and operate as God would in the physical, creating magic all around you and experiencing that magic. That is what we are meant to do. But I'm here and I made this video to help people to understand how, if I'm not mistaken, quantum physics is all the physics of it. It's entanglement, it's whatever other mint there is. That is how, things happen. But a lot of things that are happening are also pre-agreed upon before birth, and that's another video as well. So I'm gonna end this video here. I hope somebody was able to get something out of that download. It came to me, I hopped on here, and here it is. This was off the top of the dome. I started thinking about this before I got on here to speak about it, and I expanded upon that as the information came to me. I guess that's why they call it download. Y'all, I'm new to it. I'm new to, new to what it's like to get downloads. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've been getting them, but I'm new to getting familiar with what it's like to get a download, because when I hear people say they get downloads, I be thinking, okay, maybe they can hear that in their head, but I think sometimes we can't hear it in our voice or the voice, whatever voice that pops up, but it also comes like as you're talking and with the flow of your words, because that's just what I was experiencing. But I get on here to share my experience, which, by the way, before I get off, I do want to do an update with you guys about my current reality situation. Now, mind you, wherever we are at, we are just experiencing a change within our reality. Like, this is what I created beforehand. I mentioned that in earlier videos, but so it seems as though things are opening back up for me. You know, I told you guys in earlier videos that I feel like maybe Source, you know, had me sitting down for a minute where, you know, it was just meant for me to sit and not do anything, because every attempt I made to try to get a job, I wasn't able to. But now, you guys, lately I've been, you know, I told you guys I got hired in my last video. I got hired into a job and just wasn't able to make it there. But when something is meant, everything around you will situate itself as to, you know, make that possible. So I'm still, you know, up in the air about it, but you guys know I don't have an income coming in right now. I've been transparent about my whole situation right now. You know, I'm staying with my daughter because I was evicted from my dad's house, and before that I was evicted out of my last place. And all of this, you know, snowballed into what it is from the spiritual awakening I had a few years back. My whole story is on here. You can go back in the videos if you're new here, you know, and just see, you know, what you can gain from my videos that you may be resonant with or be able to relate to. But so currently I'm at my daughter's, and I feel like whatever was, you know, blocked, whatever path I was being blocked from not being able to work in my attempts to get a job before, I feel is finally lifting up. So I had my second interview for a job. This job, I can say, is just as good as the job that I last had, which was at Motor City Casino. I'm a former officer there, and I would say this job may be even better than that. It seems like a really nice environment to be around. I'm gonna be around, you know, kids. I love kids of all stages, teenagers, tweenies, you know, preteens, babies, toddlers, all of that. I love everybody. I love, you know, I just have a love for everybody now that I have an understanding of everything. And I vibrate in unconditional love with everybody. I have absolutely no judgment, and I'm neutral. I told you guys about, you know, how I may have told y'all about how I came about being that way, and how that is the best way to raise your vibration, is to be neutral about everything, no matter how bad it may seem. It just seems that way from the human perspective because we're trained to think the worst of everything. But there's a higher meaning and a higher agreement made before everything that plays out and happens here. And a lot of it is created by our free will as well. So we have a mixture of what we set out to come here to do, to incarnate here on earth to do. And then there's free will that's, you know, involved in interference with that. Because we do have free will We have choice even before we come here and forget. When we get here, we forget, and then that free will is swayed by whatever we're learning when we get here. So it's good to be conscious of what you're allowing yourself to learn and what you're subscribing to as well, because nothing is true unless you make it true. So why not make the truth true for yourself? And so we are the ones, we are the determiners of everything, because we are God in the flesh, materially manifested and experiencing. So experiencing separation from ourself until we get back to the self. And so, religion and all of that play a big part. What we watch on TV, what we consume on social media, all of that is programming. So be careful what you take in. And, I'm always seeking knowledge and wisdom. When I take anything and retain it, it's going to be the truth. It's going to be the truth. That's what I seek. I don't know about any of y'all, but I'm seeking pure truth. And I don't just roll with whatever is out there. I connect first. Connect back to my higher self. And then I'm shown what to roll with and what not to roll with. And that's the best way to connect with only truth. But that's me, and that's what I got for this video but today. And till next time, you guys, take care. I'm going to try to leave the link to that video. I got to find that video again. It's been a minute since I watched that video, but I came up with that concept, and I said, wait a minute. Our frequency is like a radio signal out here into the field of reality in this realm that we live in. This solid, matter that we live in, this solidity that we live in. And we're able to manipulate it because even the solidity is energy. Everything is energy. Solid matter, like this fan, this is energy. Just the solid that it is, the denser it is. So down to the most density. See, like when I told y'all there is no firmament over the earth or enclosure like we on a snow globe or anything like that. To me, from my perspective and what I've been shown, I feel like, I'm sorry, I know I'm supposed to be concluding this video, but I just keep getting more every time I'm talking. But there's no solid structure over the earth. We're not living in the snow globe, and I don't feel like earth is flat or round. I was thinking that the earth was round. I never considered flat, because that just wouldn't make any sense. If we're rotating and we get the sun in the day and we get the moon at night, the sun and the earth are on two separate sides of the planet, then we're rotating, right? And every now and then the sun, I feel like the sun and the moon are both rotating around the earth, to be honest, but at a slower rate than what earth, at a slower, I ain't gonna say earth is spinning. I feel like earth is a realm that's it's all energy. Everything is energy, and it solidifies wherever God is solidified. So wherever there's life, we are the ones that solidify in this realm with whatever we're interacting with. at the time. Like, God showed me through some content where somebody was a video that I was watching. I think it was Billy Carson, and it connected with what I feel is the truth. That's how you know when you're consuming anything spiritual and there's anybody who's talking. You'll know if they're telling the truth or not, because you're directly connected. And if you're seeking with intention to connect inside yourself for the truth, it's going to show in your outer reality. The universe around you works with you, not against you. So when you're trying to seek knowledge, your surroundings have to bend to that reality and meet you for that, because you're already connected. So you're gonna attract the truth into you, and then when you come in contact with it, even if everything else around it ain't correct, you will know what parts of it is correct, because you're gonna be magnetized towards whatever frequency of the words that's being spoken or the content that you're consuming. So you're going to connect to it. Everything is magnetization in terms of energy and frequency and things of that nature. It's like a radio. A radio works better when you pull out the antenna. The antenna emits a frequency. That's what we are. Where do you think they get the concept of electronics? From the blueprint, which is us. We are the creation, and God is creating this solidity through us. So the earth collapses into whatever we perceived it to be. So those who believe that the earth is flat, the earth is going to be flat for them. You're God. You determine what is what. Those who believe that the earth is round, guess what? The earth is going to be round. But even if that's not true, even if, let's say, from our higher sources perspective, from which we forgot, once we remember, we realize, like, it's almost like a separate consciousness, but we're in this realm, so we kind of operate off this realm, after forgetting when we enter the realm, because the energy of density is strong here. But once you gain and merge consciousness with the highest consciousness of all, because we are the lower aspects of that consciousness, you start to see things formless. I see myself formless. You start to focus less on what you see around you and know that you are the determiner of what's around you based off your current beliefs and perception. So it's shown to us the way we see it. When you start seeing differently, that's when it changes. But I see things from my higher self, so I don't see my concept of the world and earth as far as solidity is that it's whatever we perceive it to be. I feel like everything is formless until we interact with it, and then it takes form. So I see earth as like a realm that is only shaped by us. So it's a non-physical realm until we interacted with it. So we're on it. And really all we can see through our levels of consciousness is only what's around us as far as these physical eyes can see, because mind you, our consciousness is physical based until we learn how to let go of that and start deconstructing and reconstructing our consciousness to fit with God's perspective. God isn't perceiving a round earth or a flat earth. We're all just pure energy to God. That's what God sees us. And so we look at the planet, and if we believe that there's a dome over the top of the earth, then that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a dome over the earth. Me personally, from what I learned in my intent to seek nothing but the truth, like I said, when you seek nothing but the truth, that's what's going to come to you. Ain't nothing else going to be able to, filter itself in when you're directly focused on knowing truth. And that's it. So I feel like Earth is a realm that takes shape however we view it. And I feel like the universe is in energetic compartments, meaning like wherever the realm of Earth ends and the next realm begins, that creates a energetic barrier. So everything that exists within a realm is only fit for that realm. Cannot go outside the realm into other realms because it is an energetic match for the realm that it's in. With that being said, whenever they try to go out into space, nobody is going out into outer space at all. Nobody is going out into outer space because nothing from here is an energetic match to the outside of these realms. Now, what I think they do when they showing images of how it looks out there, I feel like what they're showing could be true, or it could be based on whatever perception they're getting from these beings from outside of this realm who do have access to the outer realms. Or they're only showing us what they can view from however far they can get before they reach that peak point where the realm changes into a different frequency that they can't go outside of. If the pictures that they show of outer space is, true, then it's either from the beings that come here that are from those realms, and they're able to, because they're self-aware, they know who they are, they know their connection to source, so they're vibrating at the highest level, so they're multidimensional. They can come here and be dense with earth. They can change and become, energetically matched for realms outside of here. They can, navigate to different planets with ease because they are not bound consciously to the earth like we are in our consciousness. So anytime that starts opening up, you'll be able to go into different realms. We are all of us are multidimensional. And yeah, that's my understanding of things. It's really deep. And this is just a rant. And I'm going to make this separate video from, I'm going to break this video into half because I kind of went in an overboard because my mind is, this is what I sit and think of when I ain't thinking of nothing else. I got, the job lined up now, so I'm kind of, in a space where I can relax and not worry about what's happening. The lady supposed to call me in 2 weeks about the position. She still didn't say whether I was hired or not, but the energy around this whole thing, I'm feeling like this is me breaking out of the cocoon stage of my spiritual awakening, where I now have to figure out how to balance spirituality with more practicality than what I've been having. So I've been isolated and there's not much practicality in that. I'm just, waking up every day and going through the whole day with my son and just, burying my head in spiritual stuff. Sometimes a little bullshit. What I call bullshit is when you just like freely just scrolling, laughing at videos and things of that nature. That's the bullshit. When I say bullshit, that's what I mean. Like focusing on bullshit. I scroll sometimes just to laugh at people's videos. I try not to get mentally caught up into, what Aaron Lyons, y'all know I follow Aaron Lyons. What Aaron Lyons she calls it group think, where, a group of people think this way about certain things and a group of people think that way about certain things. Like when they be talking about relationships and things of that nature, which, by the way, I came up with a brilliant idea. I'm not going to reveal that idea just yet, but I've got some creativeness flowing since I've been less worried about things. I've been kind of worrying about, what it is I'm supposed to do, like what action should I take. And I just didn't want to believe that it would be getting a job again after going so long without working and, coming into all this spiritual truth. And I kind of think that I wanted to believe that I could just manifest something happening into my life, like poof, because that's the picture that they will paint to you and have you in the clouds. And I feel like I've been in the clouds a little bit lately. Yeah, I've been in the clouds a little bit lately, so it may take going backwards a little. I kind of view it as going backwards because I'm kind of like, it feels like I'm going back to life as it was before my awakening. And it's kind of what it is, but now it's going to be like a different experience of that. So I'm going to be, going back to the work life, but I'm going to have a different experience and a different outcome from what I was getting before because of the programming, the lower consciousness that I was in at that time. So I'm at a much higher consciousness now. My consciousness is expanded, and so I don't think in terms of lack and limitation anymore. And so I'm able to get more out of my experience. It's all about deprogramming and, making that deprogramming actually work for you. And you do that by reprogramming your consciousness and your subconsciousness. Once you believe something enough, I call it surface level belief. Like, once you learn, once you first grasp the concept, like, okay, that's how that works. Once you first get that, that's how that works. Okay. And then you start, thinking in terms of that, and you start programming, and then you start correcting certain actions that you take on what you used to believe in versus what you now know. You kind of get in the flow of, no, it's this way. And you just start remembering. Then it start becoming a belief. Then it goes into your subconscious where it's deeply embedded. That's how we all got to the point where we needed a spiritual awakening. And this is how we come out of that. So, I'm going to conclude this video because I could go on and on and on, y'all. I really can. Especially right now with the way my mind is like running. I can expand on all of this because I chose to grasp source energies perspective. I want to know what God knows, and so God is opening me up to that. Once you open yourself up to something, God is going to grant that to you. Same thing with what we believe in. If we, okay, this is like that, and that's just how it goes, or we have a certain thought about something, and that's just the way it is, and we just accept it. That's what God is going to give us. So you got to change, your perspective in hangman time, hangman energy, gain a new perspective of everything that you've been taught in this realm, so that your density can become light, and you can start operating as your God self in this physical realm, doing, having things your way, and living out your desires and shaping and forming your life the way you want to live it, because you are God and you have that power. So I am that I am. Make sure you say that to yourself. If you're into affirmations, I am God. I am pure energy. I am multidimensional. I am the author of my own story. And once you say that enough, and once you, continue to seek knowledge and wisdom around the truth, you will know. And that'll shape your consciousness and your focus, and you'll start emitting out that energy that then goes out and manipulate the energy around it, because it's so strong, and it starts to create in your outer reality. What is it within is so without. As within, so without. So until my next video, you guys, I'm so sorry that this came out to be so long. If you're still here, I may have decided not to break this video in half. I did say that earlier in the video, but I'm gonna leave it as is, because whoever connect with it is gonna pretty much probably be the 0.1% of anybody who can really grasp what I said in this video. But yeah, my videos are gonna be a little messy until I figure this thing out. I gotta, like I said, I'm coming up with something. My creative side kind of dove into it a little bit today, and y'all, this just won't be the end of me. You're gonna be seeing more of me as my situation and my circumstances unfold, and I'm able to expand in my reality. So yeah, if you're interested, stick around, subscribe, and you'll know about what's going on with that. It's in the making right now, and when I get this job, I'll be able to do a bit more. That's why I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to take a slight step back and then move forward in that from my newest, most highest frequency for my level right now, and appreciate the experience that I'm gonna get within that, because Source been telling me like it's not gonna be the same experience you had before. I know you feel like you trapped in working and things of that nature, because it ain't working that I don't like. It's just certain things about working. Like, I have to be away from my baby, and even now, like, I still don't know if I'm gonna be working this job because it ain't happened yet. I'm just seeing things move in that direction right now, but I'm not gonna set in stone off of what I'm seeing in this reality. Rather going with what with anything could be possible. This could be just leading up to something else. You know what I'm saying? So I always keep my perception open. I don't try to lock in on one concept and one idea and things of that nature. I like to keep myself open to all possibilities, because when you limit the possibilities of what can happen for yourself, you ultimately limiting yourself, because you are God and you are the determiner. That's what your power is. You determine. So you got to decide on what to determine. You got to decide on what is true for you. You have to decide on what your story gonna be. You have to write that script. Can't let everybody else come in your ear, and then now you writing a script based off of that. Your sky has to be the limit. You have to make limit. You have to make expansion out of your own sky. Like they say, the sky is the limit. There is no limit to the sky. So you're only as limited as you deem yourself to be. You are the determiner. I'm sorry that is so long. I apologize a few times now, but this is my last apology. If you're here that long, thank you for staying and hearing me out. Only a rare few will stay and listen to this. But like I said, I'm not organized until I am. Right now, I'm sharing information. I'm sharing myself, in the most messy way possible. But all messes can be cleaned up and organized. So once I get to that organized space, I'll create and, deliver from that place. But I'm delivering from where I'm at right now. Take me as I am or have nothing at all. I love you guys, and till next time, peace.